It's about Ramadan. And I think it's time for us to talk about it. I don't think we should talk about it right the night before, because I think it's a month of work, and you need preparation for it. And I think these ahadith are there to remind myself and everyone about these things. And it's always the same ahadith in Sha'ban. They're always the same. There's nothing new. There's nothing really. There's no update really. It's the same, except we all need reminders. عن سهل بن سعد رضي الله تعالى عنه وارضاه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن في الجنة بابا يقال له الريان يدخل منه الصائمون يوم القيامة ولا يدخل منه أحد غيرهم. The Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام in this hadith is saying that there is a Jannah has gates, and one of the gates was mentioned has a name. And when something has a name, it's important. Just keep that in mind. Every time there's something you give, either good or bad. When there's a name, it means this is an important thing, an important object or a person when it has a name. And the Prophet ﷺ is saying that there in this hadith that heaven, Jannah, paradise, there is a gate, and the gate is called Rayyan, and that's specifically there for those who perform fasting to go inside Jannah through this door, and no one else. Those who don't fast, that's not for them. And the name of subhanAllah, the name of this gate, this door, is Rayyan, which means someone who's satisfied with water. Someone, you drink water, you quench your thirst, and you're very satisfied, and that's the name. That's the name that was given, which is a very appropriate name, because when you're fasting, you feel a lot of thirst, a lot of hunger, and this door, the minute you step foot, inshallah, this is actually, from the name, you get satisfied, just by reading the name. And then the hadith says, يُقَالُ أَيْنَ الصَّائِمُونَ فَيَقُومُونَ. They call upon all those who fast. This is before hisab, huh? So they stand up. فَيَدْخُلُونَ وَلَا يَدْخُلْ مِنْهُ أَحَدٌ غَيْرُهُم فَإِذَا دَخَلُوا أُغْلِقَ الْبَابُ أو أُغْلِقَ وَلَمْ يَدْخُلْ مِنْهُ أَحَدٌ. They enter, and the door is closed, and that's it. No one enters this door. And a little bit of reflection of this hadith. Now, number one, it didn't say, like this gate is for those who perform siyam. But why siyam? Why not salah? Why not Quran? Hafadh al-Quran? Why not those who give charity? They will get into paradise. They will enter Jannah, inshallah. But why do they do? And subhanallah, siyam is such a unique act of worship. Really, it's very unique. It's really between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. See, salah, I can perform the most beautiful salah, and you'll be very impressed with me. But am I sincere? I can perform hajj, I can give charity. All these acts of worship could, insincerity could get into it, right? There's some level of showing off. We can do that. I mean, I'm not saying that one should, obviously. You should purify your acts of worship from all these. But siyam, there's really, how do I know you're fasting or not? There's really no way for me. You can tell me, I can believe you. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's really between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can definitely sneak in the middle of the day and open the fridge and eat or drink a sip of water. No one will judge you. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching you. So siyam, for that very reason, is such a unique thing between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's why, to the best of my knowledge, I think there's a special place in Jannah for those people who establish this type of siyam. Bab al-Rayyan. So, and now, but if you think about it, we all perform siyam, right? We all do. So basically, potentially, every single one of us, if you perform Ramadan, then you're eligible to enter through that door. But then siyam is levels. And I'll end with this. I don't want to take too much of your time. There's 3 levels of siyam. Level number 1 is when we sit and talk about what you should do and what you shouldn't do. If you take an injection, it'll break your fast. If you take your tooth out, if you're diabetic, can you eat, can you fast? The jurisprudence aspect, the fiqhi aspect of siyam, that's level number 1. We all should know that. But then, this is the external aspect. You'll lose weight, you'll be good, you'll feel better, you'll feel light. But then there's the special aspect of it, which is the internal, that you're fasting from anything that could, any act of immorality, anything that break your character, any trait like stealing and lying and cheating and all that, all these things that sometimes we fall into it without knowing. Combined with that, if you're only focusing on the first part, then you will enter in Ramadan. You'll get out of at the end of Ramadan. You're going to be a few pounds lighter, and you haven't really benefited out of it. You've missed the message. The message is this: is that the hunger and the thirst is to remind you that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to improve internally also. And then there's a different level. If you taste it once in Ramadan, you're lucky. It's that the whole day you only think of how you're a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's such a high level that a lot of people everything that happens is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they don't think of anything else. They fast from anything else. And back in the day, like in previous nations, they used to fast. When they fast, they wouldn't even talk. Like part of their fasting is not eating, not drinking, and not talking. We don't have to do that. But you feel you really don't feel like talking in Ramadan, really. When you're fasting, you really don't feel like you want to have a long conversation. You're tired. And that's the idea of fasting, is to weaken your instincts, weaken your body, to make you focus on what's inside. I hope this was a benefit. يروي الإمام البخاري ومسلم كلهم في صحيحه بسند صحيح عن الحديث المتفق في الحديث المتفق على صحته عن سهل بن سعد رضي الله تعالى عنه وارضاه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن في الجنة بابا يقال له الريان يدخل منه الصائمون يوم القيامة ولا يدخل منه أحد غيرهم يقال أين الصائمون فيقومون فلا يدخل منه أحد غيرهم فإذا دخلوا أغلق ولا يدخل منه أحد. صدق رسول الله